Nobody. Manskaral Academy. I'm too far away from home to leave. It's just me and my Crocs. Yeah. But let me tell you one thing. I absolutely love this quietness. I am in my element. I absolutely love the peace. So, yeah. Let me talk about pigeons. I love pigeons. I'm crazy. It's just that I'm homesick now because I don't see any racing pigeons here. And as far as I can see, I don't even see any mountains. Pretoria does not have mountains, as far as I can see. Yeah, you will see a rockbird flying by and other bird species, but no pigeons, racing pigeons per se. But there is pigeons, yeah, local commons that come to visit here and roam around. But this facility is, at this stage, very peaceful, quiet, and as I said, I just appreciate it. But yeah, getting back to pigeons, what my experience, I would like to share some pigeon politics maybe, and what should I call it? The I'm not sure. Lesson maybe. A pigeon politic experience. I will use it as a learning curve. Not a learning curve. I'm sorry. For learning purposes to the novice, and how to select quality pigeons. I think is another important one. Let me start with pigeon. Your quality pigeons. So, if I look in terms of winning races at club level, selecting birds for the future to have a better, stronger race team. In my experience, it's not just about the winner. My One of my mentors, Mr. Williams, aka Solly, he used to say, if a bird scores in the top 6 on club level, then he would consider the bird. And I'm with it. However, he also agrees that you need to compare your birds with the rest of your organization, meaning fences on the shorter leg of the race as well as on the longer leg of the race. So with that in mind, I would like to maybe refer to races like second place Tennyson 2014, third place Victoria West 2016, 12th position, no, third place Carnarvon club level. And those positions, if I break it down or if I compare to the trucks, the 12th place Carnarvon would equal, the third place club level Carnarvon is equal to, or the bird's position on the track was 12th place. 12th position. Carnarvon, that was among 6,000 plus birds. Then the Tennyson would be around maybe 2,000 pigeons, I believe, because of the number of birds that you are allowed to raise on the longer distance. So the bird on the Tennyson did second club, but 54th on the track. And then together with that bird, I had a 6th place club, and the bird went 168 on the track. And that same bird on the previous year did for me a top 10, but the bird's placing on the track result was incorrect, as I showed in previous videos, I believe. Then if I go to the 2016 Victoria West 3rd place club, was a 25th or 26th place on the track. The total birds entered into the race, I cannot remember, but I am positive that that would be amongst 4,000 plus birds at least. So from those birds, your stock is selected. In my opinion, I have watched, for example, Secrets of Champions, and I love what why is it that I can't remember who said it, but it's between Jeff Kirkland and Frank Tasker, between the two of them. One of them said that first it's your racing pigeon, and then your breeding pair. That might even be Atser Larkins or Atser Larkins, I believe. Yeah, between the three of them, I am not sure who said it, but let me add Atser Larkins. Between the three of them, one of them said that first it's your racing pigeon, and then it's your breeding pair. So yeah, guys, to add on to that is the important thing is to cross birds. Don't go and make birds that are related to each other. You don't have to do that. Me personally, as a local fancier, with all my birds that did well on track level or the organization level, it's all crossings. All crossings. There is no bird that I can go to that is an inbred that performed that well. Maybe a line bred, yeah, but not directly inbred. So that is the one thing, and then that is to improve your pigeon loft, your raising quality, your team is to select your birds based on their performance. You remember your birds are the quality is determined by, or how good they are is determined by how good they perform, the level they perform. So the higher the level they perform, the better the bird, or the better the quality of the bird. So yeah, that is my opinion, if I may, according to selecting your raised birds. Then if I go to pigeon politics, so the club where I originally started racing, it so happened that I from being You know, when I started the racing, I was not known, let me put it that way, as a new fans here in my area. Nobody takes, if I say not known, to somebody that they need to take into consideration when it comes to race results and that type of thing. Because when I started the racing, it was disastrous for 8 years. Even though I won a race by default, which was considered, or it was said that it's a disabled race that I won. Nevertheless, so I went from racing when I started racing, it was 2005. I raced pigeons 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, I'm lying. 2005, 2006, 2007. I did not race. I set out, and then I continued in 2008, 2009, 2010. I did not race. And then from there onwards, I raced for 10 consecutive years. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. And then I set out again in 22 and 23. We are now in 2024. And I'm hoping to get to get started with racing again. I am not entirely sure if I'm going to race, but I am hoping to get back into racing. But I just want to get back to pigeon politics, the effects and the intentions and where it puts you within your club. So for me, we tend to invite pigeon fanciers, the general pigeon fancier, somebody that's just keeping birds, to start racing, and you invite them and you encourage them, and you are so hyped up for them to start racing. But the truth of the matter is, in my personal experience, I cannot speak for other people, but in my personal experience, the ones who's inviting you, they invite you, but you are not supposed to win them, if I may put it that way. Okay, so as I said, I was racing really disastrous from the start. When I started racing 2005, and then 2013 came along, and we raced the Hanover. I'm not sure if I did post that the results. I do have it at home that I can confirm. So if I didn't post it in the previous video, then I would really post it in a next video, or make sure that I post it in the next video to show the true results. And we raced Hanover in 2013, and the race was won by a fence who only had that was his only position in the top 12. That was our positions that the club allocated points for. And then second, third, fourth was the champion at the time. And then he also did 3 other positions. I believe that would be 6, and 7. No, 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 not 6. That would be 7th place and 8th place, because I did 6th place with one of my birds, and then I came in again, I think at 9 and 11. But nevertheless, that specific race was closed by 5 fanciers only, of which 3 of them, 3 fanciers had a one position each within the 12. The champion had 6 positions within the 12, and myself had 3 positions within the 12. Okay, and then from the the the, the Hanover, we went on to the Tennyson, and the bird that won, or that scored 6th place for me, won the Tennyson in 2013, and I did first and 7th place with that cock and his mother. His mother did 7th place. So there things started to show for me. I tried from 2005 until 2013. I was gathering as much information, reading and experimenting with things myself. So I would gather the information and experiment with my birds and see if it's going to work or not. But something that happened along the line is that a fellow fancier also mentioned to me that I should write down what and when and what I give my birds, so that I can have a record. I brushed it off, to be quite frank, and then, as I said, 2013, big things started happening for me. That bird scored very well on the track, within the top 10 it's supposed to be, but the bird's placing on the track results was incorrect. That I believe I pointed out in a previous video. Then time went on. 2014 I did another great result. In fact, 2 very good races on the track, of which one of my birds went 2nd place, Victoria West, on the track, and that was 5,379 birds to be precise. I'm very proud of that moment. The reason why is we were 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on that result was our club, and we scored 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 3 different lofts within our club in that area. We were only won by the person that lived like 19 kilometers closer to Rice Point. So I also believe that that is the only reason that that person beat us. But nevertheless, it was a very good race, and it is a proud moment for me in my racing career, and it's phenomenal. That is something that I call Pigeon Racing. It's when you have fences that clocks within the same minute, which makes it very competitive. So for those who understand the manual clocks with your clock losing time or gaining time, my clock was gaining time. So it means that I beat my opposition in my club. I had the first bird, if I may put it that way. I clocked the first bird within our area, and yeah. So if my clock was running smooth, then I would even time a minute before them. Which, if I had to give time up to the guys that's living behind me, it wouldn't make a difference because it's a fast race. But yeah, that is one of the proud moments in 2014, or 2 of the proud moments, TNSN and Victoria West. And time went on, and then in 2016, at the start of 2016, I met Mr. Lionel Smith through a fellow fancier, Jerry Solomons, who then introduced me to Mr. Smith. But when I met him, I didn't know anything about him, the history and whatever. But with our first encounter, I asked him something that was very prevalent when I saw other people's birds training around the loft, and this is something that I couldn't manage to get right. You will find that if you circle your birds in the morning, they train, and or at least for me at the time, the speed is not up there where you want it. Like your bird is training hard, really hard. You can see they are working. I just seemed to be off with it. I couldn't get it right. But that is something that I don't know. I believe it was destined that we meet, and that I should have asked that question. And he told me what I should give my birds. And the way I'm putting it, it's typical pigeon fanciers. This is what they do. That is how I was brought up within the racing circles of pigeons. So I will bring this in another video or reveal what he told me sometime in another video. But for now, I just want to say that he told me what I should do. And I believe that was maybe 2 weeks prior to when the racing season started. I'm not too sure, but we were training birds already, preparing them for the races. And in the first race, Lainsburg, I believe it was, I entered 4 birds only because I only had 4 birds that was ready to race. I don't know, for some reason I always breed late, and my birds, the molting, they're not complete. So I have this flight issues where the birds, you can't enter the birds into the, or you can enter the birds into the race if you want to, but be sure that there's a chance that you will lose them, or either to a hawk or falcon, or they will be late, they won't be competitive because they don't have their 100% mechanism with them, which is their full feathers. That is their tool, because they are flyers, or born flyers, so they need their feathers. So to get back to the race, is I entered 4 pigeons into the race, and my fellow fanciers, we were allowed to enter 20 pigeons into the race, and I only entered 4 pigeons. One fancier did very well in the race, I believe, and his clock printed the times on top of each other, so you couldn't distinguish which was the first bird's time, the second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on, because the times punched right on top of each other, or maybe with a slight move between the times, but you can't distinguish which belongs to which. For the people that understands how the manual clock sprints, so he was disqualified for that reason. And then again, another race which I consider that as a proper competitive pigeon racing results is that first, second, third in that race was clocked on a minute after 1. And remember, I said I only entered 4 pigeons into the race, and I, with my birds, scored third and fourth, of which third place was at the same time as the first and second place birds, which was a minute past 1, so the difference would be seconds there. And that was 2016, and I had a few good races during that season. That includes a Victoria West. I'm not sure we had a few Victoria West races, and I'm not sure which Victoria West it was, but Victoria West for me is, I believe, 5 or 4 kilometers short of a 500-kilometer race. So it's 495 or 496 kilometers around there. And I did a third place Victoria West, but the birds did very well on the track. My bird personally did a 25th or 26th place, as I said before. And then obviously the two positions before me did better. I think the winner on club level, his bird went third on the track. Speaking under correction, or I stand to be corrected. But that is as far as I can remember, I cannot recall what was the position of the second place bird. I think, if memory serves me correct, it was 11th place, but I do not have a record of that results though. For 2014 Victoria West, the one prior, the race just before the Kimberley in 2014 on the WCTPA track. Now we only have one Kimberley race. So if somebody has that the results of that year, the track results, it would be the Victoria West just before the Kimberley. So we were so hyped up with the results. Myself, first and second place, and we were boasting and bragging and making statements saying that if you guys think that was good racing, watch us next week, meaning the Kimberley race. And guys, we were told by our club fanciers that if you guys think that your birds are the only birds that has wings, then you guys must think again. And then the Victoria West was raced on the Saturday as a normal pigeon racing day is on a Saturday. And then the next day, the Sunday, myself and the winner of the Victoria West, we went on to Gouda, which I believe could be flight distance maybe 65 kilometers. Yeah, from us, or from Atlantis, where I live. And before we released the birds, he took out the pigeon out of his basket and he said that this bird is going to win the Kimberley. Now bear in mind, that man won the Victoria West just the previous day, because that was on the following day, the Sunday, then we went to train the birds. And he also won the race the previous week prior to the Victoria West, which I cannot remember what the race station was. It was going to be 3 in a row, a hat trick. And I also took out a bird out of my basket, and it was a silver million. After the Kimberley race, I named it Tinkerbell. But that bird herself also did good for me on Hanover. She did a 4th place. And I found the bird at home, because at that time I was working shifts, so I was working night shift. I couldn't wait for the bird any longer today, and I had to leave to go to work. But very early in the morning I came and clocked the bird, and the bird went 4th place on Hanover. But anyhow, this bird was now entered for the Kimberley race, and then we were bragging and making statements with regards to we are going to win the race. Me and this guy specifically that won the Victoria West. And the fellow fans just tried to put up defenses there that their birds will also be able to win the race and this and that and whatever. Nevertheless, the following week, the race was flown on Saturday, and we waited for birds. It was a tough one. So as I was waiting for my birds to return, I started growing impatient, and I then got my gym equipment out and I started pumping iron. And I was pumping and waiting and pumping and waiting and pumping and waiting because I'm pumping iron now in front of the pigeon loft. And nothing pitched. But I didn't communicate with anybody with regards to was there any birds? Did any birds return already? Communicate with people that I know on the short end of the race or on the far end of the race? Nothing like that. I had adopted a mentality of not communicating with anybody on a race day because it's nerve-wracking. I cannot handle and deal with it. So if I don't have birds, I don't want to know about your birds. I don't want you to discourage me or anything like that. I've learned it from the elders in our club also. And I was quite happy with that idea that do not communicate with the other people. Don't discourage others during racing. If you are racing well, it's fine. Keep it to yourself until ring out and we compare the times. So I was pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping, and then I got the pump and I couldn't even carry on anymore. I was now fatigued. So I started packing up the weights, and as I turned my back onto the loft, I just heard the swing of a bird here in the air with the feathers. And I turned around and I saw this bird come down, landing onto the landing board. Beautiful, beautiful sight. I cannot even explain. But the thing with the emotions that you go through, it's more related to pigeon fans. Of course, I believe they are the only ones that understand the feeling that you feel when your bird arrives. And it was a long day for us. I do have the result. I'm not sure what was the release time. The Saturday morning from Kimberley to Cape Town. But what I want to say is, I believe maybe the birds could have been released at 10 o'clock at the latest. Well, let me withdraw that and not give it time. But the birds were released in the morning, and it was a long wait. I clocked my bird a minute to 7. So it was already starting to become dusk, or dawn rather. Or what? I'm not even sure what is dusk and what is dawn. But it was becoming nighttime. And okay, I clocked the bird. But she was a beautiful, beautiful sight. I have a photo. I've made videos of her in a prime. A beautiful silver Malayan Tinkerbell. And that bird is also the mother of my third place car competition 2019 in the federated board. She's the mother of that bird. But to get back to the race, and then with the ring out, because of the few, or should I say, almost no birds through on the day, we automatically had our ring out the Sunday afternoon. So with the Sunday afternoon, I usually acted as assisting race secretary, and I used to call the times. But prior to calling the times, I would always consult with the race secretary to find out from what time I should call times and so on. And he was really agitated, and because I was persistent in finding out whether I should call times on the day or should I call the next day. And as I was talking to him, obviously the other fanciers could hear because we are in the same room or vicinity, and they were just saying, why don't you just start calling the times on Sunday? And then I said, guys, but we don't know what happened on a race day. So maybe we should start on a race day, which is the Saturday, and then we start with late times, not to drag it on so that we can get to the Sunday. If you guys are so persistent with quit. Because people had a very tough race on that Kimberley 2016, guys. And okay, the race secretary was very agitated. I just want to emphasize that. And he said, man, just call the times and maybe there's birds through, I don't know. Okay, then I said, let me rather just for safety. For safety, call times on the day. And then I started, I'm not sure if I started at 6 o'clock or what time or 5 o'clock. But the rest of the club, the fans were very, very cross on me. They said, you're wasting our time. Whatever. But then I carried on with the times and I got to half past 6:30, 18:30. 18:30, that is on the Sunday. And then I got to 7 o'clock. And the fans here that won the Victoria West just the previous week, he took his clock and he put it up on the table. And I got a shock. I know, my bird. And the whole wind was up in arms and people were cheering and what, because it's 3 in a row for this guy now that he won. And he's also pumped up. I just had to wait it out and wait for everybody to settle down. And finally, when everybody was settled down after a few minutes, I called him and to get his attention, and I asked him, my friend, was that now 7 o'clock on the hour, 1900 hours, or is it prior or a bit later? Because according to the rule, if you call times, say for instance I say 18:30, so that means say say I called 18:20 and no birds went up, no clocks went up, so that means any time prior to 18:20 there was no birds, and then 18:20 I call 18:20 and no clock goes up, it means that up until 18:20 there was no birds also. Then I call 18:30 and somebody puts his clock up, meaning that he should have had a bird now between 18:20 and 18:30. Then he's eligible to take his clock up onto the table. And that by doing so, you are stating that I have a bird between 18:20, the last time you called, Mr. Assistant Race Secretary, and 18:30, 18:20 and 18:30. So he said no, it's 3 or 4 minutes past 7 that he clocked. And I asked him, are you sure? He said yes. And then I said, where is my clock? Let me get my clock. And remember, I said I clocked a minute to 7. He clocked 4 minutes past 7. And I reached out and grabbed my clock there from the back where I was standing. And I placed it onto the table. My dear viewer, if you thought the room went up in arms the first time, you should have seen what happened when I placed my clock on the table. It was absolutely chaos. Chaos, chaos, chaos. And then we just reminded the rest of the club that this was predicted. And from there, I grew so confident in pigeon racing, and I could tell when I was going to have a good race. Yes, I then eventually won the race. Mr. Victoria West, who won the previous week, he went second in the race, but he did very well on that. Kimberley, I only won the race, and then I didn't have another bird for the first 12 positions. But he had numerous, I think he had about 6 birds maybe within the top 12. He did very well. But yeah, you only need one bird to win, and I had that bird, so I won the race. And as we stated to the other fans that this race was predicted, and we delivered on our promise. We had a good race. I was hyped up. I gave my bird a name. Her name was Tinkerbell from there onwards. And I just couldn't stop talking about this bird. That was 2016. Now she's the daughter of the bird that went second place, Tennyson, in 2014. And then that bird and the bird that won the 2013 Tennyson for me, they are sisters' children. So they are cousins. The 2013 and 2014 birds, their mothers are sisters, direct sisters, same mother, same father. So yeah, the daughter of the 2014 Tennyson bird then won me the Kimberley in 2016 on the day of the race. So there was only 2 birds clocked on the day of the race. However, I should mention that one of my mentors, my pigeon father, as I called him, Mr. Williams, he phoned me after 12 on race day, after 12, the Saturday, Sunday morning actually. He phoned me and asked me, Theo, did you clock any birds? I said, yes, I clocked a bird. He said, I arrived home now he went to some party or something. Old man, still partying, but nevertheless, he came back from where he was partying and he found a bird on his landing board. And I suspect that his bird, because he said he left his house 7 o'clock, that bird arrived with our birds. And while he was maybe still in his house, because he closed his trap, and then went into the house. And when he went into the house, that bird came, because that is the time that myself and the second place guy clocked our birds. But tough luck for him. But he went third place in any case, because in pigeon racing, your race closes with the organization's closing time, sunset time, and then the race opens with sunrise. So the first time was allocated to him with sunrise the following morning, and he's at third place. So away from 2016, 2017, I started with 2017. I think the opening race I did a third place, and 2017, the last race, the Bloemfontein, I ended also off with a third place. In between, I won the Springfontein and the Kimberley with the same bird, and then I won a Bridgetown with a bird related to that one, related to the rest of my birds who also won prior to that. And before those good results, there's something like I mentioned at the start of this video of pigeon politics, or there's actually more a misleading information from fancier to fancier. So what happened is, since 2014, I had the Tennyson second place, second and six, the second place on the track 2014. It was absolutely phenomenal results for me, even though it was only one bird in that top positions. So I was seeking for a more consistent way of having that type of a result, and I reached out to a fancier, and what happened is that fancier gave me a feeding program, and as I agreed that time that I wouldn't disclose it to anybody. But what happened from 2014, at the end of 2014, start of 2015 season, or during the 2015 season, I was applying the feeding program that I received, and at the end of 2015, I didn't win any race in 2015. I think the closest I came to a win was 4th place or 3rd place maybe. But that was it, I didn't win anything. And at the end of that season, 2015 season, at our prize giving, I even allocated the accolades, trophies, certificates to the winning members. And I lost every single bird except for that bird that won me the Kimberley in 2016. She's one of the birds that stuck it out. But what happened is I lost all my previous birds I could rely on. I lost them in the 2015 season. I went to my pigeon father at the end of 2015 and I said to him, I don't know what happened this season, but it was absolutely disastrous for me as I lost all the birds that I could depend on. And he wanted to know what did I do. I said I did nothing out of the ordinary. The only thing that was new is the feeding program that I received, that I implemented, and I explained to him what it entails of. And that man started laughing. Tears of laughter, guys, I promise you, tears of laughter. And I did not laugh with him because I did not understand why he's laughing. And then I asked him and he answered me, or he asked me, am I crazy? Because on a Wednesday morning and a Thursday morning, I was supposed to feed only the sunflower without the shell, only as a meal for the birds. This is prior to race day. Wednesday morning, Thursday morning. At the start of the 2015 season, everything went well, no problem. But as soon as the weather changed from colder weather conditions to more warmer weather conditions, this thing backfired in my face and I lost one bird after the other. And that is what came out of it. He said to me, oh, you can't just feed, that is just oil. Where is the fiber? You're supposed to feed fiber. I didn't know. Fine. Then later, that 2015, after this racing season, I met the person who gave me the feeding program. And then I confronted him and asked him, why did you not tell me that I need to change the feed when the weather becomes more hot for the birds with this feeding program? And you know the response that I got, it tore me up inside, because the response of the person who gave me the feeding program, he laughed his ass off. Tears of laughter. Can you imagine? Now if you ask anybody that knows me personally and racing pigeons, I don't even give a feather away to anybody. I do not sell birds. I don't want anybody to have my birds. It's my birds. That is how I feel about my pigeons. So they are not just my pigeons, they are more than just my pigeons. That is the way I feel about my pigeons. I cannot explain to you. But he was laughing. And that experience, I moved club from there. That was my last season in 2017. That was with the club that I started racing, and that was my last season. I moved on to a new club in the area, and within my first year at the new club, that type of misleading advice repeated itself. I don't even understand why or how did I get to the point where I would listen to anybody again, because I already had something that works for me. I didn't have to change anything. And again, from the leading fanciers, I got misleading information, and it caused me to to be defensive and with everything, with the rules of the club and whatever, and it might need to be less popular or more somebody that is not likable in the club, but not for the wrong reasons though. I was standing up for the rules and the regulations and whatever. And yeah, it just gave me a perspective of true sportsmanship. Yes, I believe there should be a competitive nature in pigeon racing, but on a friendly note, not for to cause harm to your fellow fans here, or to that extent where you sabotage your competitor. So in actual fact, you are dimming my light here so that you can shine bright. That is the idea that I got. So the moral of this story with pigeon fanciers giving advice, I personally feel that you should listen to every little bit of advice or whatever somebody knows puts out there. And but when you implement it, please, I beg you, as a starter, as a novice fancier, do not apply whatever you heard to your whole racing team. Experiment with 5 birds at most. If it does not work for those birds, pardon me, if it does not work for those birds, then rather stick to what you know. And that, my fellow viewer or listener, that was the very last time that I ever listened to any advice anybody ever gave me. I did over the years pick up information, hear what others had to say, implemented, experimented with, and whatever. And I found success here and there, here and there, here and there. So my message to you is, yes, as I said, you can listen to whatever other people are saying or the advice that they are giving you, but do not implement or administer whatever it is to your whole racing team. Select a few birds and try it with them, isolate them, and then you experiment with them. But we are not on good terms, me with both that experiences. But I want to close this video and say, if you are racing pigeons, if you are planning to race pigeons, it's the most beautiful sport ever. As you grow older, this does not even count against you. Maybe health-wise, I don't know if you are susceptible to there is sicknesses and stuff that goes along with pigeon racing. But if you maybe have a well ventilated loft, things that will keep you out of harm's way, that would be good. And otherwise, it's the most beautiful sport. In my experience, I had a 70-plus-year-old champion. If we had to run a race, a 100-meter race, at the time he was still with us, all the fanciers could walk the race and have him being the only one to run 100 meters, and he would lose still in his best efforts to run. But with racing pigeons, it was just the opposite. He was a force to be reckoned with. He was not to be taken lightly. So yeah, that is my closing statement, guys. It's a beautiful sport. If you are embarking on racing pigeons, please do. It is absolutely phenomenal. The best thing you can do ever. Cheers, until the next video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was entertaining and that you maybe picked up or learned something from it. Enjoy. Cheers, until we meet again. Hello.